Hello, moneymakers. Recently, I have been looking for some unique perspectives to work on the psychology niche. The reason is something you will laugh at. I had a little fight with my girlfriend, and she stopped talking to me for a couple of hours. And it occurred to me, what if I had a channel with entertaining videos on serious psychology that makes sense and also feels relatable? Instead of talking one-on-one, sometimes these videos work best to shift moods and have some realization. That's when I started digging on YouTube and suddenly found this. They started uploading this type of content just 2 months ago, and in that short time, they have already gained over 200,000 subscribers with a total of 15 million views. Even more impressive, 4 of their videos have already crossed the 1 million view mark. In fact, a video they uploaded just 4 days ago, as of this writing, has already crossed 1 million views easily. Clearly, they are absolutely nailing it. And how are they doing it? It's not some dry psychology lecture. They present everything with an eye-catching yellow and white brand identity and simple cartoon visuals that instantly grab attention. They keep things simple and relatable at the start, which is the first thing you need to do. Then they gradually explain and clarify concepts using psychological terms in a way that actually makes sense. That's the whole channel. Exactly the kind of thing I've been looking for all this time. And this channel is not succeeding by accident. They discovered formats with almost no direct competition and combined them with topics people genuinely want to click, like hate crowded places, this might be the reason, or psychology of Gen X. It honestly blew my mind. I couldn't stop wondering why most creators keep copying each other instead of upgrading the format itself. However, after hours of research on this, I finally cracked how they create these kinds of high-retention, visually consistent psychology videos using AI without spending weeks editing. The secret is not just better scripts, it's controlling the style across the entire video, keeping the visual identity consistent, and creating 16:9 mid-form content that is actually monetization-friendly instead of random vertical clips. And in the next 15 minutes, I am going to show you the exact process of how you can create these videos, from ideation to script writing to visual generation till editing, and replicate their success, step by step. So now let's grab a cup of coffee and let's get started with the most important question. You see the difference? They're looking for answers to personal experiences, not textbook definitions. And this is where most creators get it wrong, because they think the psychology part is the main event. But really, the psychology is just the tool you're using to explain something they already feel. It's like the difference between a mechanic showing you all the parts of an engine versus a mechanic explaining why your car makes that weird noise when you turn left. One is educational, sure, but the other one actually helps you with your specific problem. So, when you're planning your content, you have to start with the behavior first, the thing people recognize in themselves or others, and then you bring in the psychology to make sense of it. That's the order that works. Because when someone watches your video and thinks, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I do," you've got them hooked, and now they're ready to hear the why behind it. Your job isn't to teach psychology. It's to hold up a mirror to human behavior and then explain what people are seeing reflected back at them. And once you understand that shift, everything else becomes easier. You know what's wild? Most people starting psychology channels right now are making the same mistake I made when I first tried this. Here's what happens, and I see this all the time. Someone gets excited about psychology content, dives into research mode, spends hours learning about cognitive biases or attachment theory or whatever fascinates them, then sits down to make a video and just dumps all that information onto the screen like they're writing a college essay. And look, I get it. Because when you're passionate about something, you want to share everything you know. But the problem is that your audience didn't come to YouTube to feel like they're back in a lecture hall. They came because something in their own life made them curious. Maybe they're struggling with a relationship, or they noticed a weird pattern in their own behavior, or they're trying to understand why they do this one thing that doesn't make sense to them. So when you frame your content like an educational lesson instead of a conversation about something they're already experiencing, you lose them before they even hit play. The video might be accurate, it might be well researched, but it doesn't connect because it's not answering the question they're actually asking, which is usually something like, "Why do I keep doing this?" Or, "Is this normal?" Or, "Does this mean something's wrong with me?" And that disconnect is what kills engagement faster than anything else. The channels that are blowing up right now aren't the ones teaching psychology. They're the ones using psychology to explain everyday human behavior in a way that makes people feel seen and understood, instead of studied, also in an engaging manner. So, let's talk about the first thing you need to get right. And it's not your editing skills or your camera setup or how many psychology books you've read. It's understanding that your channel isn't really about psychology at all. I know that sounds backwards, but stick with me here. When someone searches for content in this niche, they're not typing "explain operant conditioning" or "what is the DSM-5?" They're typing things like "why do I feel anxious around certain people?" or "psychology of people who always need attention," or "signs someone is manipulating you without knowing it." But I've seen creators spend entire afternoons picking fonts and color schemes and designing logos and worrying about whether their banner looks professional enough, and meanwhile, they haven't uploaded a single video yet. And I'm not saying branding doesn't matter eventually, but at the beginning, what you actually need is consistency and simplicity, not perfection. Think about it this way. When you're scrolling through YouTube and you see a thumbnail in your recommended feed, you're not analyzing the channel's aesthetic choices. You're asking yourself one question, which is, does this look like it's going to answer the thing I'm curious about right now? That's it. You're not studying their logo or checking if their colors are on trend. You're just scanning for signals that tell you whether the video is worth your time. So, all this energy people pour into making their channel look impressive is energy that could have gone into actually making content that connects with people. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. Visual sameness in this niche is actually an advantage, not a weakness. When your channel looks similar to other successful channels in the space, it lowers the barrier to entry because people's brains recognize the format and they feel safe clicking. For this, just use ChatGPT and paste a clear, structured prompt about your niche. I have already prepared a complete and fine-tuned prompt doc for you, where you will get all the prompts you will ever need to create videos in this niche. To get this, just check the link in the description, but before we dive in, I want to quickly tell you about my exclusive school community. Inside, I share premium resources, proven prompts, step-by-step systems, and insider strategies that I don't share anywhere else. You'll also get direct access to me, weekly live calls, and a network of creators who are building channels just like you. If you're serious about growing faster and don't want to waste months figuring everything out alone, this community is the shortcut. You can find the link in the description and join today for $199 only. However, branding can be divided into three main things: channel name, profile picture, and banner. So first, get the channel name prompt from there, paste it to ChatGPT, generate multiple name ideas, review the tone, and pick the one that fits your brand best. That's it. Clean, quick, and effective. Next, again, go to our prompt doc to copy the profile picture and banner generation prompt. We will paste it into ChatGPT again to create the ultimate image generation prompt. Now, you need to take this prompt to any AI image generator tool. I use Whisk AI because it's free, fast, and gives out great results. So let's paste that prompt into Whisk and generate your profile picture, and then create a matching banner using the same style and process. So, keep your branding simple and familiar, pick a clean name that tells people what they're getting, use minimalist visuals that don't distract, and then move on. Because the real work is about to start. Alright, so you've got your channel set up, and now comes the part that separates creators who build momentum from creators who upload 3 videos and then disappear. And that's learning how to generate ideas that people actually care about. And this is where I see the biggest disconnect, because most people approach idea generation like they're brainstorming topics for a research paper. They think, what would be interesting to talk about? Or, what have I learned recently that I could share? And those are fine questions if you're writing a blog for yourself, but they're terrible questions if you're trying to grow an audience. Because interesting to you and interesting to someone scrolling YouTube at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday are two completely different things. What works in this niche are ideas that tap into behaviors people have noticed but never fully understood. Things that make them go, wait, I do that. Why do I do that? So instead of asking yourself what you want to talk about, you need to reverse engineer what people are already curious about. And the fastest way to do that is to look at what's already working. Find channels in your niche that are getting traction, scroll through their uploads, and pay attention to which videos have the most views relative to their subscriber count, because that's a signal that the topic resonated beyond their existing audience. And you're not looking to copy their exact titles, you're looking to identify the patterns in how they frame human behavior. Like, if you see a video called Psychology of People Who Don't Care About the Super Bowl, or People Who Don't Use Social Media, or Do You Hate Family Gatherings? What you're really seeing is a formula, which is a specific behavior plus a psychological angle that makes people feel understood or validated or slightly called out in a way that's not judgmental. Master that formula, you'll never run out of ideas, because human behavior is infinite, and people will always want to understand themselves better, which means your content will always have an audience waiting for it. But since you already have me, I have already made your job 5 times easier for you by creating an idea generation prompt for you. Just copy that prompt and paste it into the GPT. Ask it to give you 10 or 15 high-performing competitor titles. Don't forget to ask for similar psychological behavior hooks along with that, and then hit generate. See, your ideas are here, waiting to be picked. Once you've got your video idea locked in, the next step is where most people either fall in love with the process or completely burn out. And that's writing the script in a way that actually sounds like a human talking and not like a robot reading a Wikipedia page. Here's the problem. When you sit down to write, your brain defaults to formal mode, especially if you're writing about psychology, because you want to sound credible and knowledgeable and like you know what you're talking about. So you end up writing sentences that are technically correct, but feel stiff and distant. And when you read them out loud, they sound like a textbook or a corporate presentation. But the thing is, people don't subscribe to channels that sound like textbooks. They subscribe to voices that feel like a friend explaining something over coffee. So you have to write the way you actually talk, which is messier and more conversational and full of little tangents and casual observations. Use contractions. Say you instead of one. Let your sentences run a little long if that's how you naturally speak. And don't be afraid to throw in phrases like, here's the thing, or and look, or so here's what's interesting. Because those are the connective tissue that makes the script feel human. And one more thing, your script should guide the listener through a thought process, not just deliver information. So instead of saying, avoidant attachment develops in childhood when caregivers are emotionally unavailable, you say something like, think about a kid who learns early on that asking for comfort doesn't work, so they just stop asking. And that pattern follows them into adulthood where they avoid closeness because closeness has always felt unsafe. See the difference? One is explaining a concept, the other is walking someone through an experience they can visualize and relate to. So, for this, I will always recommend you to use Claude instead of ChatGPT because it's strong, long-form coherence and better emotional tone control. First, copy the entire script writing prompt from our doc and give it to Claude. It generates a full script in a competitor-inspired format with smooth flow and built-in structure. That's it. Once a complete script is in hand, we will move on to visuals. The visual style that works in this niche is specific, and it's not random. It's minimalist, hand-drawn, sketch-like imagery that feels personal and approachable, almost like someone doodling in a notebook while explaining something to you. And the reason that style works is that it keeps the focus on the narration without distracting the viewer. But it also adds just enough visual interest to hold attention and reinforce what's being said. So, you're not trying to create cinematic masterpieces here. You're trying to create visuals that support the voice and make the concepts easier to absorb. And here's where people mess up. They either go too detailed and create illustrations that pull focus away from the script, or they go too generic and use stock images that feel disconnected from the topic. What you want is consistency in style, so every visual feels like it belongs to the same world, and simplicity in execution, so the images feel handcrafted but not overworked. Think about it like this. If your narration is the main course, the visuals are the plating. They make the experience more enjoyable, but they're not the reason people came to the restaurant. So, you need a system for generating these visuals quickly and consistently without agonizing over every single frame, and that's where using the right tools in my prompts doc comes in. First, paste the full script into ChatGPT and apply a script to the image prompt framework so it can break the story into clear scene-by-scene visual directions while keeping the brand style consistent. Then, take each generated prompt and move to Whisk AI again, paste it in, set the aspect ratio to 16:9, and create the image. Make sure the switch of the Nano Banana Pro model is turned on, and repeat the same process for every scene in the script. And just like that, the written narrative transforms into structured visuals. Notice all the scripts we generated are simple, entertaining, Cartoonish, exactly like the Psychology Simplified channel, isn't it? However, if you've ever tried making AI videos, you must have felt the inconsistency, like one scene looks cinematic, but the next looks like it came from a completely different universe. So, even if the visuals are cool, the final result feels like a collection of random clips. That is exactly where today's sponsor, Agent Opus from Opus, changes the game. This is not about chopping clips or adding surface-level effects. Agent Opus built to take a script, a voiceover, or even a simple audio file and transform it into a structured mid-form video with a consistent creative identity from beginning to end. You can upload your own custom visual style or choose from powerful presets. Want a cinematic documentary look with moody lighting and subtle film grain? Done. Prefer a bold comic book movie aesthetic where every frame feels illustrated and dramatic? You can build that too. Agent Opus keeps the same visual direction across every scene, so the final result feels intentional and branded, not stitched together. It also gives you control over format and output. Whether you need 16:9 for YouTube or vertical formats for other platforms, Agent Opus adapts without losing style consistency. The AI understands the tone of your script or audio and generates scenes that match the pacing and emotion of the narrative. Creators are already using it to produce full myth retellings, cinematic explainers, dramatic historical breakdowns, and stylized recreations of real events. Instead of manually designing hundreds of shots, they upload their script, define the look, and let Agent Opus handle the heavy lifting. What makes Agent Opus from Opus powerful is accessibility. You do not need a production team, advanced editing skills, or complex software. If you have an idea and a script, you can turn it into a polished, story-driven video built for scale. This is full-length storytelling, powered by Agent Opus. To enter, go to opus.pro/agent, upload your audio or script, pick your style, and create. If you have been waiting for a tool that lets you think bigger, create deeper, and actually monetize your creativity, this is it. All right, so your script is written, your visuals are ready, and now you need to bring it all to life with the voice that's going to carry the entire video. Psychology content needs to feel warm and human and understanding, like someone who gets what you're going through is walking you through it. So if you're using AI voices, which is totally fine and honestly pretty common now, you have to pick one that has emotion and variation and doesn't sound like it's reading a legal document. Stay away from the deep philosophical voices or the monotone corporate voices, because those will tank your retention instantly. What you want is something that sounds mature but friendly, confident but not condescending, the kind of voice that makes you feel like you're having a one-on-one conversation, even though you're just listening to a video. So for this job, my first choice is always 11 Labs. Open this tool, come to the text-to-speech section, pick a voice model, and switch the version to 11v3 Alpha for more natural delivery. Now, paste your script in the blank space, generate the audio with the right emotional tone, then export the final file. But remember, never paste your entire script at once. Always paste it one chunk after another, otherwise it will end up sounding robotic. Since your voice is the bridge between your ideas and your audience, don't rush this part. Test different options, listen back critically, and make sure it feels like a real person who genuinely cares is doing the talking. But let's be real. No matter how fast this is, the entire process of doing this on repeat and maintaining quality indeed takes a lot of time. And if you can't afford them, I totally get you, and I have the solution for you. Before we move ahead, let me be very clear about one thing. Everything you are seeing in this video, you can do it yourself. That is why I'm explaining the full process openly. But I also know the reality. Not everyone has the time. Not everyone wants to deal with tools, prompts, testing, and mistakes. And not everyone wants to wait months just to understand what actually works. When I started, I thought doing everything alone was the only option. I watched tutorials. I tested ideas. I failed more times than I can count. What slowed me down was not knowledge. It was execution. That is why I created my Done For You program. If you want, you can hire me and my team to create videos for you. We are already running 10 to 20 YouTube channels, and AI Maskman is one of them. These are real channels, real uploads, real results. Instead of you figuring everything out, we handle the work for you. We help you choose the right niche, set up your channel properly, create videos in formats that are already proven, and build a system that can scale over time. I have added a link below where you can book a free call with me. We will talk, understand your goal, and see if this makes sense for you. No pressure, no fake promises. Now let's continue with the video. Now we're getting into editing, and I'm going to be honest with you. If you hate editing, this is actually going to be the easiest part of your entire process, because the format we're using is intentionally stripped down and simple. I always prefer CapCut for editing due to its simplicity. So, first, open CapCut and come to the timeline. Import the voiceover, followed by all the generated scenes. And then, set each visual carefully, aligning with the audio so every moment lands exactly where it should. You can add subtle motion using keyframes to keep the frame dynamic, without distracting from the message. Because static AI-generated images one after another would feel boring after a period. So, we need to animate them or spice them up using keyframes. You can also use smooth transitions to connect each scene so the story flows naturally. And finally, never forget to generate the AI captions. You can add this using the Caption tab on the top panel. I won't add any background music to it because our reference channel's videos have none. So we are all set. Just give it one final look to see if everything's okay, and then we will export it in the highest resolution possible. See, now your video is completely ready to upload, but wait, don't upload it yet. Finally, now we get to the part that genuinely decides whether your video gets traction or dies in obscurity, and I'm talking about the thumbnail and title combination, because no matter how good your content is, none of it matters if people don't click. In this niche, keep it simple, with minimal text, lean visuals, and one clear idea. The title should name a specific behavior and hint at the why. Use a proven structure. Repeat what works. The best way I can recommend you is, first save a competitor's thumbnail and study its layout closely. Then use ChatGPT to break down the structure and turn that pattern into a clear image prompt. But you can also take my prompt from the prompt doc, as I have you covered on that part also. Just feed that prompt into Whisk AI to recreate the same visual framework with your own elements. The goal is to replicate the layout and visual logic, not reinvent the concept. That's all. Master your packaging and suddenly your content gets the audience it deserves, because people are finally clicking instead of scrolling. And that one shift changes everything about how your channel grows. But here's the truth. The psychology niche works because people never stop trying to understand themselves. Behavior is endless. Curiosity is constant. If your videos consistently explain what viewers already feel, the platform learns exactly who to send them to. When your structure stays tight and your audience stays specific, growth stops feeling lucky. Views get steadier. Each upload strengthens the last. Momentum replaces hope. But none of it matters if you never hit publish. Learning feels safe. Posting builds skill. Your early videos will be imperfect. Good, that means you started. 6 months from now, do you want progress or potential? If this niche isn't for you, subscribe and explore the other systems on this channel. Comment the next niche you want broken down. See you in the next one.
You don't always have the words. Sometimes the feeling arrives before language does. Heavy, formless, pressing in from every direction. And the most natural thing in the world is to go still. Not because you don't care, not because you've shut down, but because somewhere, deep in the architecture of who you are, silence became the safest place you knew. This is for the people who disappear a little when life gets loud. There's a moment most of you recognize. The conversation gets harder, or the day stacks up too high, or someone asks how you're doing, and you open your mouth, and nothing comes out that feels true enough to say. So you close it again. You smile, maybe. You say fine. And then you go somewhere quieter, physically or just inside yourself, and you wait for the weight to shift on its own.